Chapter 226. Such a look reminded Yiqing Luo of her past self a long time ago. It was the same, standing on the street every day, hoping that her father would turn back and take her away from those old men. But the initial expectation turned into despair. She never saw the man whom she called her father but was a stranger to her. The little mirage beast at this time was just like her at that time. In her heart, there was an inexplicable emotion boiling, driving her to do something. At this time, dozens of mercenaries had approached the little mirage beast. The leader first approached and saw that the little mirage beast was in a trance, totally not noticing them. His face turned solemn and commanded in a deep voice, "Release all profound grade, kill it in one fell swoop." Dozens of mercenaries understood, one by one, profound chi broke out of their bodies, raised their weapons and attacked the direction of the little mirage beast. Suddenly a whirlwind blew past. Soon after, a red shadow that was like a blazing sun flashed past his eyes. Boom boom boom. The ground around the little mirage beast was scratched with several cracks in the air. As the ground sank, the little mirage beast suddenly regained its senses. Even though one of its legs was injured, it still stood up nimbly and quickly leaped. The ground where it stood just now suddenly collapsed. The mirage beast in their hands just flew away like that. Dozens of mercenaries all stared with their eyes wide open. They only saw that the red shadow that alarmed the little mirage beast turned into a whirlwind and spun back to a tree. A fair little hand firmly caught that red shadow. Everyone then saw clearly that was actually a red fan. Could it split the ground? Make the ground sink? Who is it? The leader was shocked, vigilantly looking in the direction of Yiqing Luo. He was shocked someone was following behind them and they actually didn't notice. Who exactly was it? Under everyone's shocked gaze, they saw a woman in a plain white dress, covered with red muslin, leaping down from the branch. Following the woman's movement, the white dress, like a blooming white lotus, floated lightly. The woman stood steadily in front of the little mirage beast, her posture outstanding. Everyone's gazes converged on her in unison. Immediately, another figure jumped down from the branch and landed beside Yiqing Luo. His black hair fluttered on his shoulders. His loose white robe was slightly open at his chest, revealing a bit of his muscular skin. He looked extremely lazy. "It's you guys." The leader narrowed his eyes. Weren't these two the couple he had seen at the edge of the 5th level? Clearly, it looked ordinary without the slightest bit of advantage. He didn't expect them to be two unworldly experts. "It's you guys again." Lung Fenghua frowned, his eyes filled with malice. Just now, it was this woman who had disturbed the low-level mirage beast. Otherwise, the mercenary group would have succeeded. The dozens of mercenaries were also burning with anger. Just a little bit more and they would have been able to exchange this little mirage beast for 500 gold coins. The leader opened his arms and stopped the restless mercenaries. He looked at the two of them warily. They dared to come to the inner part of the 5th line with just the two of them. If they didn't have absolute strength, they wouldn't dare to take such a risk. "Why did the two of you make a move?" After a moment of silence, the leader asked. Yiqing Luo raised her eyebrows and smiled. The feather fan in her hand covered half of her face. "This little thing, we want it." The blunt words made Lung Fenghua's chest surge with anger. Chapter 227. What a coincidence, I don't have the habit of giving away the things I like to others. Yiqing Luo's pink lips rose slightly, her long and narrow eyes were curved, glistening. It was totally different from that extremely ordinary face. Staring at that pair of eyes, Lung Fenghua felt a chill in his heart. Why did it feel a little familiar? Yiqing Luo waved her feather fan, leisurely turned her head and looked at the leopard-type mirage beast that was standing not far behind, staring at them vigilantly, revealing an amiable smile. Are you willing to leave with me?" The little mirage beast's fur stood up. Its beast eyes became even sharper. Its mouth kept emitting a roar warning growl. "How dare you? Do you know who you are talking to?" Yiqing Qian reprimanded and walked quickly to Lung Fenghua's side. "This is the current crown prince. You two commoners, how dare you compete with the crown prince for the mirage beast? What crime do you deserve?" Yiqing Qian's face was sullen, her gentle eyes were also covered with solemnity. Lung Fenghua puffed out his chest under Yiqing Qian's imposing words, both hands behind his back, displaying the posture of the crown prince. After getting used to seeing Yi Qingqian's gentle and pleasant look, suddenly seeing her acting like a motherly model, it was a different feeling. Leng Fenghua stared at Yi Qingqian's gaze, revealing some meaning. Crown Prince. Yi Qingluo sneered disapprovingly. So what? As long as it's something I want, even if the emperor comes, I will not give it up. This indifferent attitude made Leng Fenghua, who was used to being flattered, suddenly turn gloomy. Yi Qingluo even smiled at him provocatively. Refusing a toast only to drink a forfeit. This prince wants to see just how great your ability is. Leng Fenghua clenched his 5 fingers, suddenly opened up, and released a palm wind sweeping towards Yi Qingluo's direction. That palm wind, the imposing manner was like a rainbow rapidly approaching. The mystic profound 9th grade realm was indeed different from those low-level cultivators. This imposing manner set off a powerful fluctuation, like a sharp blade, piercing through the air, directly into one's skin. Yi Qingluo's pink lips curved slightly, didn't dodge, the feather fan on her fingertips rotated a few times, sweeping a sunset afterimage colliding with that palm wind. Rumble, a huge collision sound exploded in the air. 2 majestic waves of profound qi surged in the air like the eruption of primordial power. One wave after another they rolled in the air. Bang! It exploded. The ground, which was already cracked and sunken, was blasted into a huge crater. The magical beast forest was shaken once more. You can actually take my palm? Leng Fenghua stared at Yi Qingluo in disbelief. His chest kept heaving up and down as his eyes shot out a vicious look. He was about to step into the Earth Profound Realm, and his current strength was above most of the 9th grade Mystic Profound Realm practitioners. This woman actually managed to block his palm strike? Yi Qingluo sneered. Just as he was about to turn around and approach the small illusory beast, his waist suddenly tightened. The man held her waist domineeringly and said in a low voice, "Your task today is not him." Following that, Yi Qingluo felt her body turning light. The man had already picked her up. The little mirage beast was stunned for a moment before it leapt up and followed behind Zhou Xian. Before Leng Fenghua and the rest understood what had happened, they suddenly heard a burst of chaotic footsteps coming from behind them. Only to see that the group of beasts that were constantly rushing forward seemed to have received a great stimulation. One by one they stopped their collective rush forward. Instead they ran around, rampaging through the entire magical beast forest. Chapter 228. Yi Qingqian's little face turned pale and subconsciously hid in Leng Fenghua's arms. No matter how talented she was, she still had the temperament of a little girl after all. She was afraid that Leng Fenghua would misunderstand her as a coward, so she stuttered, "Quick! Protect His Highness." The leader immediately retreated to Leng Fenghua's side and raised the axe in his hand to fight against the magical beasts and mirage beasts. "Your Highness, let's go." Wave after wave of magical beasts and mirage beasts. Even if the gold medal mercenary group came, they wouldn't be able to handle it. Several mercenaries didn't even have the ability to resist and were torn apart by those magical beasts. The leader's face was gloomy. He fiercely suppressed his desire to avenge his brothers and protected Leng Fenghua and Yi Qingqian as they left the beast tide. For mercenaries, the first priority was always the employer. Looking at the chaotic and bloody scene below, Yi Qingluo and Zhou Xian stood on a branch not far away and scathed. The little mirage beast stood not far behind them, separated by a safe distance. Its injured leg was trembling. Zhou Xian seemed to have already calculated the range and distance. The position he chose was just right. It was not far from the beast tide and just happened to avoid the attack of the beasts. "Beast tide. You are the one who caused it." Yi Qingluo raised her eyebrows and looked at the handsome face of the man next to her. This was an affirmative sentence, not a question. Zhou Xian brought her to the magic beast forest to use this beast tide to stimulate her breakthrough. In adversity, the line between life and death was the real opportunity to break through. No wonder from the beginning, Zhou Xian's goal was set on the 5th level. Yi Qingluo was very curious about what method he used to make all the magical beasts in the 5th level into a beast tide. Zhou Xian's big palm covered Yi Qingluo's head, his long arm around her waist, and pulled her into his arms without any explanation. The elegant sandalwood fragrance seeped into the nose, suffused with an intoxicating feeling. "Plans can't keep up with changes. I didn't expect to meet them." Xian's low hoarse voice like mellow wine rang in her ears. In other words, he had already tacitly admitted that he was the culprit of this beast tide. It's good that we met to be able to watch a good show. It's not bad to be able to enjoy it. Yiqing Luo chuckled. If it wasn't for the fact that they met this heart-wrenching little mirage beast, Yiqing Luo was prepared to wait for them to finish killing the mirage beast before snatching the magic crystal. Not only could he cause trouble for Leng Fenghua, but he could also benefit from it. Meeting Leng Fenghua and the others was not too bad. Below, Leng Fenghua, who was dodging in a sorry state, almost spat out blood when he saw the two of them standing on a tree branch and flirting with each other. Go to them. Since you want to use the beast tide to kill me, I will give you a taste of your own medicine. Leng Fenghua gritted his teeth as he gave a cold snort. Pulling Yiqing Qian's hand, his feet moved like the wind as he led a wave of beasts towards Yiqing Luo's direction. Rumbling sounds resounded throughout the entire magical beast forest. The ground caved in and the mountains shook. You've become smart. Yiqing Luo's brows rose slightly, the feather fan in her hand twirled around her fingertips, her lips curled into a bloodthirsty smile. Zhou Xian, I'll head down first. But Zhou Xian's arm didn't loosen. Yiqing Luo looked at Zhou Xian in puzzlement, and met with his pair of sparkling peach blossom eyes. The man's face was filled with a sense of ridicule, the corners of his mouth slightly hooked, stirring one's heart. Call me Xian. Yiqing Luo's heart thumped, skipped a few beats. Her bright eyes stared blankly at Zhou Xian's evildoer face, her cheeks flushed red. Xian. Chapter 229. If you don't call me, I won't let go. Zhou Xian's eyes gleamed with a crafty glint as his 5 fingers clasped her waist tightly. Rogue. Rascal. Yiqing Luo gritted her teeth in embarrassment and pushed Zhou Xian's chest. Stop fooling around. I'm not messing around. Zhou Xian's obsidian black eyes gazed deeply at Yiqing Luo. You can try how serious I am. His long arm exerted a little force and Yiqing Luo's delicate body fell into Zhou Xian's arms. He hugged her tightly in his arms and her limbs were bound so tightly that she could not move. West. Right. In Yiqing Luo's heart, it was as though 10,000 grass mud horses were whizzing past. He was on the verge of collapse. She saw how serious he was. Yiqing Luo's face turned black as she gritted her teeth and squeezed out 2 words. Xian. The man released his hands in satisfaction, his eyebrows full of a satisfied smile. Yiqing Luo's face sunk as she hopped down the tree branch in a flurry. Since she was unable to vent her anger at Zhou Xian, she might as well vent it on this group of magical beasts. Yiqing Luo's 5 fingers moved as the feather fan in her hand refracted a cold ray of light. Moving his feet, he turned into an afterimage and rushed into the midst of the magical beasts and illusionary beasts. Is she looking for death? Yiqing Jian saw Yiqing Luo's bold move and her eyes revealed a trace of ruthlessness. The magical beasts on the 5th level were all high-level magical beasts and phantom beasts. Just one of them was already difficult to deal with. The woman charged straight into the horde of beasts. Did he really think that he was an otherworldly expert? Even an otherworldly expert would not be able to deal with a large wave of magical beasts at once. She wants to die, then let her go. Leng Fenghua snorted disdainfully. After leading a wave of magical beasts to the tree branch where Zhou Xian was standing, he let go of Yiqing Qian and with a leap, he speedily jumped onto another big tree. Yiqing Qian's expression sunk. She did not expect that Leng Fenghua would abandon her at this time. A wave of resentment and unwillingness rose from the bottom of his heart, but he was unwilling to complain. Those magical beasts were huge and they slammed into him. No matter how fast Yiqing Qian's reaction was, she was still hit by the magical beast right in front. His 5 viscera and 6 bowels felt like they were being torn apart. She quickly used her profound qi to escape from the eyes of the magical beasts and return to Leng Fenghua's side. This time round, Yiqing Qian didn't dare to hand herself into Leng Fenghua's hands. She would rather escape on her own than let Leng Fenghua become a target. Your Highness. Just as he was about to open his mouth and call out to Leng Fenghua to ease the awkward atmosphere between the two of them, Leng Fenghua's eyes were dull as he stared blankly in front of him. Yiqing Qian also followed his gaze and looked over, the expression on her face, her mouth opened into an O shape. His jaw almost dropped to the ground. There was a strong smell of blood in the air. Amidst the herd of beasts, a white figure darted about like a bolt of lightning. The feather fan in his hand seemed to have a soul of its own, circulating among the countless demonic beasts. The corpses of the gigantic magical beasts were strewn all over the ground. Her speed was so fast that it was shocking. Her footwork was so strange that no one could understand it. Everyone could only see the white figure moving at high speed, accurately dodging the attacks of the demonic beasts, tearing and trampling attacks. While avoiding, she decisively released the feather fan in her hand, harvesting one magical beast after another. Was this really a high-leveled magical beast that they could not lay their hands on? Why was it like chopping cabbage in front of this lady? Was the disparity in strength? No. Impossible. Who is she? Leng Fenghua stared at Yiqing Luo in horror. What kind of footwork is this? In the world of martial arts, only speed could not be defeated. Speed was the best magic weapon to win. If a high-leveled cultivator looked closely, he would be able to see it. The woman in front of him was able to harvest magical beasts one after another, and the biggest reason was because of her strange footwork. Chapter 230. Accurately knowing the frequency and direction of the magical beast's attacks, avoiding them at the most appropriate time and making the most appropriate counterattack. Facing thousands of high-level magical beasts and various levels of mirage beasts. If they were in her shoes, they would never be able to remain so calm. Looking at the white-robed man on the treetop, standing against the wind, with a faint smile on his face, a pair of narrow and charming eyes staring intently at Yiqing Luo's direction without blinking. His ordinary face at this moment revealed a somewhat unfathomable feeling. Leng Fenghua had an intuition that this man, compared to the woman who was fighting among the magical beasts, was even more terrifying. If he were to make a move, what would the scene be like? What is that? Suddenly, the mercenaries pointed to the front and shouted. Everyone looked over there and saw a small palm-sized kitten suddenly sprang out from the woman's body, as fast as lightning, swimming among the magical beasts. It picked up all the magic cores in the magical beasts' heads and put them into a small brocade pouch on its back. The woman was fighting in front, while the kitten followed behind to pick up the magic cores. When a magic crystal full of magical beast energy was put into the small brocade pouch, Leng Fenghua and those mercenaries, one by one, took a cold breath and then came back to their senses. Among the magical beasts on the 5th level, most of them were intermediate and high-level magical beasts. A high-level magical beast was equivalent to an earth mystic cultivator. This woman chopped these magical beasts like cabbages. Even mirage beasts died under her hands. Thinking back to earlier, they had lost a few lives to deal with a low-level mirage beast, but still couldn't hurt the low-level mirage beast at all. All of them had internal injuries. That was way too exciting, wasn't it? Go kill the magical beast. The leader was the first to react and immediately called the remaining mercenaries to join the battle. Watching Yiqing Luo pick up the magic cores and also a magic crystal. These mercenaries, the purpose of coming here, was to find a magic crystal for Leng Fenghua. If it wasn't for the money, they would not step into this dangerous place. Seeing Yiqing Luo easily obtain a large number of magic cores and a magic crystal, they immediately wanted to profit from it. There were less than 30 people left in the mercenary group. Under the command of the leader, they quickly joined the battle. Boom, boom, boom. The sounds of battle between magical beasts and profound practitioners rose and fell, and it resounded throughout the entire magical beast forest. That lady. Why does she look so familiar? Leng Fenghua's gaze was fixated on Yiqing Luo. The more he looked, the more he felt that this figure, this aura, this gaze, all of them were extremely familiar. But for a moment he couldn't recall who it was. When Xianxia heard that, her body suddenly stiffened. Her face, which was trying hard to put on a gentle expression, was a little stiff. She slowed down her breathing and suppressed the panic in her heart. No, it can't be. How could His Highness be familiar with such an ordinary-looking woman? It's true. Even if I've seen it before, this face would not be able to leave a single mark in my heart. Leng Fenghua sighed slightly. If he had seen her before, he would have known that she was such a powerful expert. He should have brought her into his force long ago and let her fight for the position of the monarch. Seeing that Leng Fenghua had stopped guessing, Yiqing heaved a sigh of relief. A pair of venomous eyes glared viciously at the woman who was wandering among the beasts. Leng Fenghua couldn't recognize her, but she could. This figure, this pair of eyes, this arrogant and condescending arrogance. Other than Yiqing Luo, that little slut, who else could it be? Chapter 231. The beast tide was turbulent, wave after wave with no signs of stopping. Those 30 mercenaries were able to join the Silver Plate mercenary group. Their own strength and understanding were not bad. Moreover, they had been fighting for many years, their tacit understanding was quite high. When they saw Yiqing Luo using her footwork and speed to play around with the beasts, they learned and applied what they learned. Soon they adjusted the rhythm of dealing with the magical beasts and could actually work together to kill one magical beast after another. The leader heaved a sigh of relief. His gaze was complicated as he looked at Yiqing Luo, who had stopped and stood motionless on the side. Unexpectedly, he had led the mercenary group to live in the magic beast forest for 5 or 6 years. But it was only today that he found a way to deal with the magical beasts from an unfamiliar woman. How could he endure this? From the bottom of his heart, he was filled with admiration for this seemingly ordinary but actually extraordinary woman. Bitch. Those magic cores were killed by the mercenary group we hired. What right do you have to pick them up? Suddenly, a sharp voice came from the treetops. Yiqing Qian showed a displeased expression and pointed angrily at Yiqing Luo. After shouting, Yiqing Qian realized that she had lost control of her emotions and ruined the gentle and generous image that she had carefully created. She hurriedly pinched her throat, grabbed Leng Fenghua's sleeves and said to the mercenary group, "His Highness hired you. Any spoils of war that you kill should belong to His Highness." Everyone then realized that Yiqing Luo had stopped killing the magical beasts. Instead, she was leisurely, together with her kitten, picked up pieces of magic cores from the heads of the magical beasts and put them into the brocade bag. This action made Leng Fenghua's face turn green. Yiqing Luo weighed the magic core in her hand and threw it into the air. She immediately caught it and raised her pink lips slightly. "Why? Because without me you will all die here today." The mercenary group and the others had no words to refute. Indeed, if it wasn't for Yiqing Luo, they would most likely not be able to escape this increasingly turbulent beast tide. However, Yiqing Qian recognized Yiqing Luo, new hatred and old hatred mixed together. She was jealous of Yiqing Luo and hated her at the same time. This little bitch, the last time she saw her she was clearly in the yellow profound realm. But she could actually fight wave after wave of intermediate and high-level magical beasts. And she could even take the opportunity to kill magical beasts. This combat strength was even stronger than Leng Fenghua, a 9th-grade mystic profound realm practitioner. At this moment, Yiqing Qian naturally wasn't willing to let Yiqing Luo have it easy. Since the magical beasts were killed by everyone, then the magical beast cores should be divided together. Moreover, we clearly have the most people, so our damage output is naturally higher. Saying that, Yiqing Qian took Leng Fenghua's arm. "Your Highness is the crown prince. All the spoils of war should be left with your Highness. After the magical beasts are eliminated, then we can divide it equally." When Yiqing Luo heard that, she couldn't help but burst out laughing. This time she saw with her own eyes what it meant to lie through one's teeth. "If you want the magic core, use your strength to speak." Yiqing Luo hooked her finger at Yiqing Qian as if she was ordering a pet. This provocative action and attitude made Yiqing Qian's face turn black. Both sides knew each other's background. Yiqing Qian wasn't stupid, although her profound grade was above Yiqing Luo, but Yiqing Luo's set of strange footwork and breathtaking imposing manner, she couldn't resist at all. If she really fought with Yiqing Luo, the one who would lose face in the end would definitely be herself. But before she could think about how to reject Yiqing Luo's provocation, while still preserving her face, suddenly a figure stood in front of her. A black robe wrapped around his strong and tall body, the broad back reflected in Yiqing Qian's eyes. It was Leng Fenghua. Chapter 232. As soon as he finished his words, Leng Fenghua flipped his palm and a huge ball of light emerged from his palm. His eyes exuded a strong murderous aura as he quickly condensed the ball of light from his profound qi towards Yiqing Luo's direction. That ball of light was as fast as lightning, leaving only an afterimage. The profound grade of the mystic profound 9th grade was indeed extraordinary. The momentum was like a rainbow, like a shocking giant wave, the waves superimposed. This was the power of a high-level cultivator. Sure enough, as the rumor said, Your Highness is a genius in cultivating profound skills. Yiqing Luo was not afraid at all as she laughed teasingly. Although her words were compliments, but her eyes were full of ridicule. She quickly stepped back, opened the feather fan on her fingertips, and injected profound qi into the feather fan. As the feather fan waved, a flame dragon appeared, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws, swallowing and spitting flames, directly collided with that ball of light. Bang! A loud bang, the fire dragon and the ball of light intertwined. The two profound qi collided, the surrounding air exploded, and the entire ground was plunged into an earthquake. The light shone, Yiqing Luo's charming eyes were flowing with a cold glint, set off by that ordinary face, especially dazzling. The surrounding wind raged, sand and gravel flew everywhere. Under the gale, Yiqing Luo was dressed in a plain white robe, the red chiffon fluttering in the wind, like a blooming lotus. Just when everyone thought that these two profound qi were evenly matched, that ball of light suddenly burst into light, and Yiqing Luo's fire dragon directly pressed back. Obviously, this woman's profound grade was below Leng Fenghua. Lower than Leng Fenghua? That also meant that this woman's profound grade was below Mystic Profound 9th grade. The mercenaries' faces were filled with disbelief. In the mercenary group, all of them were in the Mystic Profound realm. However, 40 over of them to deal with a low-level mirage beast. They were already battered and exhausted, and more than 10 of their brothers had died. But this woman relied on her own strength to hunt wave after wave of magical beasts. No matter how strange that set of strange footwork was, without absolute strength, there was absolutely no way to easily hunt magical beasts. If it wasn't for Leng Fenghua's profound qi which forced Yiqing Luo to retreat, they would have thought that this was some otherworldly expert. Some even guessed that Yiqing Luo was a sky mystic supreme. Unexpectedly, Yiqing Luo's profound grade was actually lower than Leng Fenghua. This was true power. The mercenaries who were fighting against the magical beasts were shocked and distracted, allowing the magical beasts to take the opportunity to counterattack. They immediately calmed themselves down and readjusted their rhythm to deal with the next wave of beasts. Yiqing Luo narrowed her eyes, and just as the light ball was about to be pushed back, a thought flashed through her mind: teleportation. In the blink of an eye, Yiqing Luo's figure appeared 100 meters away. She raised her feather fan and the bewitching red light flickered. The airflow surged and once again formed a fire dragon. When Leng Fenghua saw this, a disdainful sneer appeared on his face. After knowing that Yiqing Luo's profound grade was below his, Leng Fenghua's heart was filled with pride. Towards Yiqing Luo's attack of profound qi, he totally disregarded it. He scoffed lightly as he leapt upwards, meeting that burst of profound qi as both his palms struck downwards, directly attacking Yiqing Luo's face. But when he collided with that burst of profound qi, his expression suddenly changed. That fire dragon suddenly turned into a ball of spiral, tightly entangling Leng Fenghua within it. Yiqing Luo's feather fan folded up, and a strong airflow was released from her feet. Her figure flashed, and in the blink of an eye, she had already appeared in front of Leng Fenghua. Chapter 233. The speed. It was so fast that the naked eye almost couldn't catch it. Her profound grade was obviously lower than his, so how could her speed be so fast? Earlier, when Yiqing Luo's profound qi was suppressed, Yiqing Luo also disappeared in a blink of an eye. He didn't sense any profound qi fluctuation at all. This woman, other than her strange footwork, she must have some other magical weapon to increase her speed. Leng Fenghua was shocked. He nimbly somersaulted back and quickly retreated a few steps. Immediately, profound qi was injected into both palms and another palm strike was launched. The palm wind whistled, bringing along a whirlwind. Yiqing Luo waved her feather fan and easily avoided it. But Leng Fenghua's figure was nowhere to be seen. Yiqing Luo's watery eyes squinted slightly, and released her perception to the maximum range, searching for Leng Fenghua's presence. Although the surrounding trees had been destroyed by the beasts, but it was still a forest. It was very easy for him to hide. Leng Fenghua was able to become the crown prince. His strength was naturally not weak and his ability to adapt was also extremely strong. He was very clear that there was absolutely no chance of winning against Yiqing Luo in terms of speed. It was better to strike from the dark. Yiqing Luo vigilantly sensed everything around her. The opponent was a mystic profound 9th-grade cultivator. Even if she relied on her footwork and teleportation, she didn't dare to be too insolent. After all, between a profound grade, there was a difference of 108,000 miles. Her ears suddenly twitched. She quickly turned sideways and turned her head to look. Behind him, an extremely sharp Xianxia transformed into a giant dragon with its head held high. That huge dragon hovered in the sky, opened its mouth and wanted to swallow Yiqing Luo. The entire magical beast space had darkened, the sky had flashed with lightning as if a storm was coming. Yiqing Luo immediately squatted down and rolled sideways. That huge dragon pounced on empty air. There was a loud explosion. The entire ground was blasted out a huge black hole. Sand and stones flew, smoke and dust billowed. Vaguely, she saw a figure flickering, but she couldn't see it clearly. Yiqing Luo's eyes sunk and her heart jumped. Damn it. Not good. He fell into a trap. One palm to determine the universe, Dragon Shadow Palm. As Leng Fenghua's palms turned over again, the corners of his mouth curled into a sly sneer. Amidst the hazy smoke and dust, only Leng Fenghua's hands could be seen in the air. It was impossible to see his movements at all. A wave of palm chi formed a huge palm print in midair. Like a huge wave, the surrounding ground rumbled and trembled as cracks appeared on it. Lightning flashed and thunder roared in the pitch-black sky. Leng Fenghua had calculated Yiqing Luo's evasion speed and distance before he executed this fatal blow. Yiqing Luo couldn't evade in time. She swiftly raised her feather fan and injected her profound energy into it, and then she constructed a red light barrier that was like a cocoon and enveloped herself within it. Just as the cocoon rose, the dragon shadow palm had already covered the sky and the earth as it pressed down. This powerful energy seemed as though it was going to corrode her as it instantly tore apart Yiqing Luo's protective shield. At the same time, Yiqing Luo executed her teleportation once again. He appeared behind Leng Fenghua. She spun the feather fan in her hand, and a sharp blade appeared on the handle of the fan, which was pressed against Leng Fenghua's neck. Boom boom boom. Just as Yiqing Luo was about to get close to Leng Fenghua, the ground suddenly boomed and caved in. Within a few meters around Leng Fenghua, the ground collapsed crazily. That exploded stone, all smashed onto Yiqing Luo's chest. Pfft! A mouthful of blood spurted out from Yiqing Luo's mouth. Chapter 234. Unexpectedly, Leng Fenghua actually controlled his palm energy so freely. Yiqing Luo felt a fishy sweetness in her throat as she steadied herself. It's really you, Yiqing Luo. Leng Fenghua's eyes were cold as he stared intently at Yiqing Luo's face. Disguising yourself to appear in front of this highness, is it an attempt to attract my attention? Very good, you succeeded. The more he looked, the more Leng Fenghua felt that the woman in front of him was very familiar. Gradually, it overlapped with the petite figure in his mind. This was the reason why Leng Fenghua stood in front of Yiqing Jian and exchanged blows with Yiqing Luo. Sure enough, he found it. Pfft! Yiqing Luo spat. Do you have to be so narcissistic? Who the hell was trying to get his attention? She found it disgusting. Who is that man? Leng Fenghua's eyes were bloodshot as he turned his head towards Dmo Xian's direction. Dmo Xian stood proudly with his arms crossed over his chest. The fluttering white long robe actually looked so compatible with Yiqing Luo's outfit. Leng Fenghua felt as if he had caught his own woman with his own eyes and made him wear a green hat. What has it got to do with you? Yiqing Luo sneered as she wiped the blood off her lips. Suddenly he felt an inexplicable burning sensation in his heart. She covered her chest with her small, fair hands. Yiqing Luo's forehead was dripping with cold sweat. Leng Fenghua only thought that Yiqing Luo had admitted her affair with that man, and his eyes shot out an intense murderous intent as he raised his palm once again. Suddenly, a strong ray of light burst forth from Yiqing Luo's body. That devilish red glow turned into a whirlwind, encircling Yiqing Luo's surroundings. Leng Fenghua was forced to take a few steps back. His face was filled with shock and his tall body trembled uncontrollably. No, impossible, actually, this was the sign of a breakthrough. Leng Fenghua naturally wouldn't foolishly assume that Yiqing Luo was going to advance to the Earth Profound grade. Not an Earth Xian. Was that the mystic profound realm? In other words, before this, Yiqing Luo's profound grade had always been yellow profound ninth grade? Leng Fenghua's prideful self-esteem was severely stimulated. Yellow profound ninth grade. He could actually fight wave after wave of magical beasts and illusory beast. Yellow profound ninth grade. He was a profound grade higher than Yiqing Luo, yet he had to resort to trickery to hurt her. Yiqing Luo continued to grow, wouldn't it be? Leng Fenghua shuddered, not daring to think any further. Everyone's vision, including those magical beasts which were fighting crazily, all shifted onto Yiqing Luo. In the light, a white figure gradually appeared. The coquettish red light stirred up a whirlwind that blew her hair and her dress fluttered in the air. It was as if a fairy from the 9 heavens had descended into the world. The light around her body flickered one after another. Mystic Profound Grade 1. Mystic Profound 2nd Grade. Mystic Profound 3rd Grade. Everyone was horrified in their hearts, and gasps resounded one after another. In the end, the light flickered once more, and the fluctuation of the profound qi stopped at the 4th level of the profound mystic realm. The light gradually dissipated. Within Yiqing Luo's body, there seemed to be a clear spring flowing along her meridians. His body and mind felt comfortable. Even the pain from Leng Fenghua's palm energy seemed to have disappeared. F***ck. Where did this freak come from? A breakthrough of 4 ranks in one go? I must be dreaming. How could this be possible? I've never seen anyone who could advance so many ranks in one go. None of the mercenaries could believe their own eyes. A breakthrough to the Mystic Profound Grade. And straight to the Mystic Profound 4th Grade. This was simply unheard of. Chapter 235. Yiqing Luo smiled sweetly, as enchanting as a flower. After her breakthrough, her entire temperament had undergone an earth-shattering change. That pair of enchanting eyes revealed a bit of charm. Her exquisite face and faint smile caused everything around her to lose all its brilliance. This smile could be said to be devastatingly beautiful, unparalleled. However, this smile in Leng Fenghua's eyes was like a devil from hell. His whole body was ice-cold, and before he could react, he felt a stinging pain on his neck. Yiqing Luo's fan handle pressed against Leng Fenghua's neck. The sharp blade cut his skin, a drop of bewitching blood flowed on the blade. Leng Fenghua felt the pain, drew a cold breath. His body had just moved, both his arms were held by Yiqing Luo's hands. Crack. Leng Fenghua only felt a numbness in both arms, the bones were twisted, he was in so much pain that he broke out in cold sweat. His facial features were hideous, his entire face was twisted into a ball. That pair of sinister eyes was filled with hostility. In his heart there was a turbulent wave. He couldn't believe the once weak and incompetent meek Yiqing Luo actually improved so quickly. Her beauty was so ostentatious that he couldn't bear it. The strong and sharp aura shocked him to the point that he had no room to resist. How could the current Leng Fenghua have the slightest bit of his usual gentleness? Leng Fenghua, no matter what, you are a crown prince, don't say that I didn't give you a chance. Yiqing Luo's fan handle lightly patted his neck a few times. Leng Fenghua's muscles stiffened, his whole body tensed up. Aren't you and eldest sister affectionate lovey-dovey? Then, now let Xianxia come over, kowtow to me a few times, then I will let you go, how about that? Yiqing Luo's charming eyes were glistening, the smile on the corner of her mouth was full of ridicule. Xianxia, who was standing far away in the safe zone, heard this, angrily pointed at Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo, you dare to ask us to kneel? Aren't you afraid of being struck by lightning? You're not dead yet, this lightning can't strike me no matter what. Yiqing Luo's brows rose as her lips curled into a sarcastic smile. Don't tell me. Eldest sister is unwilling to kneel down for Leng Fenghua? After saying that, she clicked her tongue and shook her head helplessly. So the relationship between you two isn't as good as I thought. It's just a kneel and you can save your lover. You're still unwilling? Don't try to sow discord between us. Yiqingqian's face darkened as she clutched her sleeves tightly. Who knows if you're intentionally teasing us? She bit her lower lip fiercely, her eyes burning with anger. Her feelings towards Leng Fenghua was not true love. What she loved was his status and power. Moreover, Leng Fenghua did not have true feelings for her. Especially just now, in order to escape, he had actually left her to be the prey of that wave of magical beasts. These actions made Yi Qingqian's heart turn cold. For her to kneel down to Yi Qingluo for Leng Fenghua, she couldn't do it. That's right, there's a high possibility that he's playing a trick on you. Yi Qingluo raised her eyebrows. The blade of the fan swam around Leng Fenghua's skin. The blade shone with a piercingly cold light, as though the slightest movement would cut his neck. The feeling of the death god above his head was indeed torturous. Leng Fenghua's body stiffened, even his breathing was careful. Yi Qingluo's dimples bloomed as her enchanting sweet voice slowly seeped into everyone's eardrums. But you don't have a choice. So what if they were playing a trick? Chapter 236. You're going too far. Yi Qingqian was so angry that her entire body was trembling. Her 10 fingers were tightly embedded into the flesh of her palm. Yi Qingluo sneered disapprovingly. I never bully others. In her eyes, Yi Qingqian was at most an animal. Following that, Yi Qingluo raised up 3 fingers as her chilly voice was piercingly cold. I'll count to 3, either you kneel down or he dies. Yi Qingluo withdrew a finger and spat out a word. 1. Yi Qingqian's eyes were filled with unwillingness. His heart was filled with hatred burning in his heart. 2. Yi Qingluo retracted another finger. Yi Qingqian still didn't move. Leng Fenghua didn't dare to turn his neck and could only turn his eyes and stare at Yi Qingqian's direction. He absolutely believed that Yi Qingluo wasn't joking. 3. The last number came out from Yi Qingluo's pink lips. With a dong sound, Yi Qingqian's knees landed heavily on the ground. The gravel on the ground stabbed into her knees. Hiss. Yi Qingqian sucked in a breath of cold air, her facial features contorted in pain. She bit her lower lip tightly as she endured the humiliation and kowtowed towards Yi Qingluo's direction. His forehead was pressed against the ground. She curled up her fingers one by one, leaving marks on the ground. But for a long time he didn't hear Yi Qingluo's voice. Yi Qingluo. For His Highness I will kneel. What else do you want? Yi Qingqian's gaze was venomous as she raised her head abruptly and stared ahead. The voice stopped abruptly. In front of him, where was Yi Qingluo? Only Leng Fenghua was half kneeling on the ground, clutching his neck and panting heavily. Yi Qingqian's face twitched a few times as she stiffly twisted her neck and looked around. They saw Yi Qingluo, who was originally standing in front holding Leng Fenghua hostage, was now in the midst of the beast horde. All the mercenaries were working together with her to surround a huge leopard-shaped magical beast. Yi Qingqian was so infuriated that she couldn't stop trembling. She knelt down, but Yi Qingluo totally disregarded her. Yi Qingluo actually dared to tease her like this. Hatred spread rapidly from the bottom of his heart. She must kill Yi Qingluo. He had to wash away today's humiliation. Not long ago, while Yi Qingluo was teasing Yi Qingqian, the mercenaries were annihilating wave after wave of magical beasts. Accompanying the beast tide were 3 advanced mirage beasts. One of the gigantic leopard-shaped mirage beasts bared its fangs and charged towards the leader. His speed was so fast that no one could react in time. Leader. The mercenaries cried out in fear. Their mercenary corps of more than 40 people joined forces to deal with a low-level phantom beast, but a few of them would die. Not to mention a high-level phantom beast? Moreover, the leopard-type phantom beast's eyes were scarlet red, revealing a strong killing intent. It's over. 10 meters ahead, roll right. Suddenly, a cold voice entered the regiment commander's ears. Then he saw a white figure coming over quickly. The feather fan at her fingertips rolled up a bewitching red light and enveloped the high-level phantom beast. The commander reacted quickly, leaping forward with large strides and rolling on the ground. His body happened to be submerged in a pile of weeds and trees, and in an instant he disappeared without a trace. Yi Qingluo's profound qi could only make the high-level phantom beast stagnate for a moment. When it could move, it lost its target in front of it. It immediately flew into a rage and stared at Yi Qingluo with its scarlet eyes. Human, this beast does not want to be enemies with you. Hand over that human. Chapter 237. The moment she opened her mouth, everyone was stunned. It was rumored that mirage beasts could speak human language and live like humans. This rumor turned out to be true. It was the first time for the mercenaries present to hear the voice of a mirage beast. What made them even more surprised was this high-level mirage beast actually used a negotiating tone to speak to Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo was also slightly stunned. Leopard-type high-level mirage beast. She narrowed her eyes slightly. Why are you looking for him? The high-level mirage beast's eyes sunk, revealing a bloodthirsty hatred. Human, he killed my son. If you insist on protecting that person, don't blame this beast for not showing mercy. Son. Yiqing Luo looked at the mercenary beside her. That mercenary shook his head desperately. They had killed so many magical beasts. Who knew which one this high-level mirage beast's son was? That high-level mirage beast took a step forward as if it had smelled the scent of the group leader. The mercenaries looked at Yiqing Luo with pleading eyes. It could be seen that this high-level mirage beast still had some fear towards Yiqing Luo. If Yiqing Luo was not here, this mirage beast would probably directly destroy this place to avenge its son. Ow ow ow. Suddenly a ball of white little thing as fast as lightning rushed to the front of Yiqing Luo. A palm-sized kitten sitting on the ground. Its mouth issued a warning ow ow sound. The dark eyes of the beast faintly flashed a few traces of red light. Don't want to live. Miss your kitten. A little thing, in order to protect its master, actually wanted to fight against a high-level mirage beast which was taller than a mountain. But a scene that made everyone dumbfounded happened. Only to see that huge mirage beast stopped in front of the kitten. The mirage beast suppressed its anger, lowered its eyes and stared at Yiqing Luo. Human, what do you want? When she saw Chi-Chi sitting at the foot of the mirage beast, Yiqing Luo finally understood why this mirage beast was so afraid of her. Chi-Chi was one of the 4 sacred beasts, the ancestor of all the beasts. After she and Chi-Chi formed a contract, her body would naturally be contaminated with Chi-Chi's scent. High-leveled magical beasts and above were able to sniff out that Yiqing Luo had contracted with a sacred beast. Your son? Is he a low-level mirage beast? Yiqing Luo's lips curled into a smile, her charming eyes amiable. This leopard mirage beast reminded Yiqing Luo of the agile little mirage beast. Wasn't that little mirage beast chasing after its own kin? Was it abandoned by its kin? Then this one. Since he was so eager to avenge his son, it was obvious that he cared a lot about the little mirage beast. Then why would the little mirage beast show such an expression? You saw my son? The high-rank fantasy beast's eyes darkened. You're in cahoots with these humans. Oh, Chi-Chi whimpered unhappily. It was very dissatisfied with the magical beast's attitude towards its master. It leapt up and jumped onto Yiqing Luo's shoulder. The rage of the high-level phantom beast was instantly extinguished. But its pair of beast eyes were still staring intently at Yiqing Luo. As though as long as Yiqing Luo replied with a yes, it would disregard everything else and directly tear Yiqing Luo apart. Roar roar. A loud and clear beast roar sounded from behind Yiqing Luo. Immediately Yiqing Luo only felt a gust of chilly wind blowing past her cheek and saw a shadow flitting past her eyes. That little mirage beast crashed into the body of the high-level mirage beast. Roar roar. The little mirage beast rubbed against it, its beast eyes glistening with tears. Jean, The high-level mirage beast roared excitedly when it saw the little mirage beast. Chapter 238. As soon as these 3 high-level mirage beasts appeared, the surrounding magical beasts seemed to have seen their king and stood obediently on both sides. Wave after wave of ferocious beast tide also came to a stop. The entire scene was so quiet that only the low cries of these 3 mirage beasts could be heard. The group of beasts did not dare to move. The surrounding mercenaries also did not dare to move. Yiqing Luo narrowed her eyes, sure enough. From the first time she saw this little mirage beast, she felt that this little mirage beast was not an ordinary low-level mirage beast, because its speed and reaction was several times faster than ordinary low-level mirage beasts. The relatives of this little mirage beast were all high-level mirage beasts. Human. The high-leveled mirage beast that was gently caressing the small mirage beast suddenly opened its mouth. Its voice was like a great bell, falling heavily into Yiqing Luo's ears. It lowered its head and suddenly stretched out its tail towards Yiqing Luo. That huge fluffy tail was the size of a thick tree. As its tail moved, the surrounding mercenaries held their breath vigilantly and released their profound qi, ready to go. Yiqing Luo looked down at the fluffy tail in front of her, pondered for a moment and stretched out her hand. Her body was curled up by the tail. Her body became light and she landed on the back of the high-level mirage beast. Yiqing Luo couldn't see the huge leopard-type mirage beast clearly as she sat in it. The surrounding mercenaries felt cold all over as they swallowed their saliva and looked at this scene in disbelief. What was the identity of this woman? High-level mirage beast. That was a high-level mirage beast. It actually took the initiative to invite a human to sit on its back. You know, all magical beasts had their own dignity. Even if one managed to tame a normal magical beast, it would take a long time to train it into one's own beast. Not to mention the high and mighty high-level mirage beast. To let a human ride on its back was a disgrace to the mirage beast. They were absolutely dreaming. This was absolutely a dream. Under everyone's shocked gaze, the high-level mirage beast turned around and carried Yiqing Luo into the depths of the forest. Yiqing Luo sat steadily on the back of the mirage beast. This seemingly hard as steel fur was exceptionally soft. Seeing the high-level phantom beast carrying her away, she subconsciously turned her head and looked in the direction of the treetops. The man in snow-white clothes was still standing in the wind with his hands behind his back. His jet-black hair fluttered in the wind, and his tall and straight figure exuded an aura that looked down on the world. That ordinary-looking face seemed especially unfathomable. Separated by a long distance, Yiqing Luo could still see the gentleness between the man's brows. As if sensing her gaze, the man's thin lips curled up slightly as he spat out two silent words. Yiqing Luo's heart suddenly skipped a few beats. She understood Zhou Xian's lips. Her cheeks suddenly flushed red. She turned her head away as if she was fleeing, no longer looking at him. He said, "I'll wait for you." She covered her chest with her fair hands as she felt her heart racing uncontrollably. This man, he had really put his flirting skills to good use. The right place, the right time. Coincidentally, it made her heart flutter. The high-leveled mirage beast's speed was extremely fast. Yiqing Luo could only feel the oncoming wind blowing against her face, biting cold. But the scorching temperature on her face could not be reduced by the gusts of wind. Until the high-level mirage beast brought her to the depths of the forest and stopped in front of a huge cave. Chapter 239. After arriving at the door, the high-level mirage beast swept its tail and dragged Yiqing Luo to the ground. Following that, the three high-level mirage beasts quickly transformed into ordinary leopard beasts. The little mirage beast also transformed into a little leopard with the same size as Chi-Chi and followed her mother. The four mirage beasts led Yiqing Luo into the cave. The cave was pitch black and the eyes of the beasts were emitting a faint green light, looking particularly eerie. Yiqing Luo had nothing to worry about. She didn't feel the slightest hostility from these mirage beasts. These mirage beasts probably had something to say to her. Not knowing how long they had walked, Yiqing Luo finally saw a glimmer of light. The four mirage beasts stopped in their tracks. This was the deepest part of the cave, surrounded by rock walls, and four luminous pearls were hanging on the four walls. The four mirage beasts sat on their knees. "Human, why are you able to form a contract with the greatest ancestor of the sacred beasts?" The high-level mirage beast's eyes swept over Chi-Chi and finally fell on Yiqing Luo. In the hearts of the mirage beasts, the ancestors of the sacred beasts were eternal legends in their hearts. It couldn't understand why one of the ancestors of the sacred beasts, the white tiger, would form a contract with an ordinary cultivator. Not waiting for Yiqing Luo to answer, the high-level mirage beast continued in a deep voice. "In the secret history of the beasts, our four great sacred beasts' ancestors used to be all-powerful and finally formed a contract with the Emperor of Gods. They followed the Emperor of Gods to conquer all the realms, sweeping the Nirvana realm and even the upper realm, creating countless legends." Speaking of the ancestors of the beasts, the high-level mirage beast's eyes were full of pure admiration. The only master of the sacred beasts is the Emperor of Gods. Why? After the Emperor of Gods has been asleep for thousands of years, why did he choose an ordinary cultivator? The mirage beast's question was directed at Chi-Chi. Listening to the high-level mirage beast talking about the secret history of the sacred beast, Yiqing Luo's heart was filled with a strange feeling. She was also puzzled about this question. Old Man Song said that Chi-Chi was one of the four ancient sacred beasts, the white tiger. Then why did the sacred beasts choose her? Chi sat upright on Yiqing Luo's shoulder. A pair of dark tiger eyes quietly gazed at the high-level mirage beast. Although it was small, its whole body emitted the majesty of a sacred beast, causing the illusory beast to lower its head. However, he did not give up on this question. Lord Holy Beast, why did you choose her? Awoo. Chi remained silent for a while before letting out a low howl. Yiqing Luo couldn't understand Chi's words. But the mirage beast could understand. Its eyes widened for a moment as it looked at Yiqing Luo in astonishment. However, in the blink of an eye, the beast's eyes returned to their previous tranquility. Human. The phantom beast suddenly lowered its body and lay on the ground. When the other two magical beasts saw this, they immediately followed behind it and did the same thing. This was the symbol of the highest etiquette of the illusory beast race. Human, can this beast ask you for a favor? The phantom beast's voice was a bit hoarse. Yiqing Luo frowned slightly as her gaze swept back and forth between Chi and the mirage beast. The expression on her face was slightly solemn. You speak first. The mirage beast licked its mouth and seemed to use all its strength to speak word by word. I hope you can contract Zhou. One sentence stirred up thousands of waves. The little mirage beast roared a few times and stuck out its mouth to rub against the mirage beast's body, as if to say that it didn't want to leave. Contract this little mirage beast? Yiqing Luo understood that the reason why the mirage beast made this request was because of Chi's beast language. Chapter 240. A human who can form a contract with a sacred beast is bound to be able to walk the path of the strong. The mirage beast's eyes were full of seriousness. It nudged the little mirage beast's body, indicating it to lie down. Although the little mirage beast was somewhat unwilling, it still obediently lay down beside its mother. This beast hopes that can become a high-level mirage beast. The mirage beast continued, following this beast it will never be able to grow and... It paused, its eyes revealed a sad emotion, and it is not loved by the leopard clan. Yiqing Luo thought of the beast tide, when the little mirage beast was kicked and abandoned by several high-level leopard mirage beasts. When it looked at those mirage beasts, it touched her. Human, I believe you will take good care of my son, and lead him to the peak of the strong. The mirage beast's eyes were sincere. Yiqing Luo was silent. At first she was indeed infected by the little mirage beast's eyes, and was very interested in it. But this little mirage beast was not abandoned by the other beasts. It had a mother who loved it. If she formed a contract with it, wouldn't it separate mother and son? Looking at this mirage beast's reluctance to part with the little mirage beast. Human, are you willing to listen to a story? Seeing Yiqing Luo remain silent for a long time, the mirage beast sighed softly. Yiqing Luo was slightly stunned and nodded. The mirage beast climbed up from the ground, flicked its tail and walked towards the corner of the cave. Yiqing Luo followed closely. Half a stick of incense later. Ending the conversation with the mirage beast, Yiqing Luo stared at the little mirage beast for a long time. If it is willing, I can form a contract with it. The little mirage beast raised its head, its brown eyes blinked. I swear it will be my eternal partner. Yiqing Luo's eyes were firm. In my heart, it has the same position as Chi. Woof woof, Chi leaped onto Yiqing Luo's shoulder, rubbed her cheek, indicating that it agreed with all the master's decisions. Yiqing Luo's pink lips slightly hooked up into an amiable arc, stretched out her hand to the little mirage beast. If you are willing, come with me. Be it humans or beasts, they all have their own set of survival rules. If you want to have the ability to protect yourself and your loved ones, you must have undefeatable strength. If you want to possess such power, the only way is to keep fighting, keep challenging and keep accumulating and growing. Are you willing to grow with me? The little mirage beast listened attentively to Yiqing Luo's words. Its eyes sparkled incessantly. Yiqing Luo's words were exactly what it was thinking. But the little mirage beast knew that if it contracted with Yiqing Luo, it would never be able to see its mother again. The tiny claws hesitated for a long time, unable to take a step towards Yiqing Luo. Go, child. She will train you until you become strong enough. I will see you again. The magical beast choked with sobs, licked the little magical beast's fur, and immediately used its head to nudge the little magical beast's body. The small magical beast growled a few times. Slowly he walked towards Yiqing Luo and stood in front of her. Yiqing Luo's lips curled up into a smile. The feather fan streaked across her fingertips. A drop of blood dripped onto the forehead of the little mirage beast. A ray of light shrouded the both of them. A diamond-shaped mark appeared on the forehead of the little mirage beast. The contract was completed. Human. Thank you. When it saw the diamond-shaped mark, the eyes of the mirage beast flashed with tears. This mark expressed Yiqing Luo's intentions. This was the lowest level of contract among the beast clans, peace contract. The contracted beast clan could choose to terminate the contract with the consent of the master at any time, and would not suffer any backlash or punishment. The mirage beast closed its eyes. Its heart was completely at ease. Chapter 241. By the time Yiqing Luo returned to Zhou Xian's side, the beasts had dispersed. The remaining 30 mercenaries under the command of the group leader sat on the ground to rest. Yiqing Qian and Leng Fenghua stood by the side, arguing about something. When Yiqing Luo returned, everyone's gazes towards her were filled with reverence. That leopard beast. Could it be the high-level mirage beast just now? I heard that mirage beasts can transform their body shape. That seems to be it. Everyone looked over at the source of the commotion. They saw a leopard beast leading a small leopard head-to-head following behind Yiqing Luo. Just now Yiqing Luo left with 3 high-level mirage beasts, and now she came back with 2 leopard beasts, one big and one small. Everyone naturally guessed that these 2 leopard beasts were the high-level mirage beasts just now. Yiqing Luo ignored this group of mercenaries. Her line of sight met with the man in white on the treetop. He leaned against the treetop and supported his head with one hand, his long black hair cascading down like smoke, his long narrow eyes slightly squinted, reflecting a demonic arc. That loose white robe made him look even more distinguished and lazy. Yiqing Luo's eyes rippled with a smile, turned her head to look at the mother and son pair, who were still dating, and moved her feet, leaving space for the mother and son. Presumably, the mother beast had a lot of words to say to its little Luo. Yiqing Luo had just moved under the tree. Her waist suddenly tightened. A scorching hot chest had already covered her delicate back. The man's warm breath directly sprayed on her neck. What's the result? I contracted that little mirage beast. Yiqing Luo was not used to it as she shrank her neck. Zhou Xian raised his brows slightly. Little Luo, this trip, you've earned a lot. Your luck is not bad. Indeed, it was a profit. She followed Zhou Xian to the magic beast forest. The purpose was to find an opportunity to break through the mystic profound realm. Now she not only broke through but also advanced to mystic profound 4th grade. What's more, she picked up a lot of magic cores and 1 or 2 magic crystals. Now she had contracted a leopard beast that could grow. I signed a peace contract with it. Yiqing Luo took a look at the little mirage beast that was still snuggling up to the mother beast. Her charming eyes were tinged with a trace of warmth. The contract is because I want to help it. Yiqing Luo succinctly told him what the mirage beast had told her. Shiju, that little phantom beast, was not a pure leopard beast. More accurately, it only had half of the bloodline of a leopard. This was the reason why it was abandoned by the other leopards. And the reason why Shiju could live safely until now was because its mother, that high-level mirage beast, was the king of the 5th level. However, even such an identity could not hide the fact that Shiju was not a pure leopard. When the mother beast wasn't around, it was spurned, mocked, and ridiculed by its fellow beasts. No leopard was willing to play with it. Apart from his mother, all of his relatives despised him. In particular, all of his relatives had been promoted to high-level phantom beasts. Only it was a low-level phantom beast. The Void Mother felt that it would be detrimental to Shiju's growth if it continued to stay by its side. Although Shiju had lived for hundreds of years, but in the beast clan, it was equivalent to a 6 or 7-year-old child. When it longed for the love of its fellow beasts, the mockery from those beasts would form a scar, leaving a scar in Shiju's heart. Especially something like today had happened. Chapter 242. The Void Mother realized that if this were to continue, the son she wanted to protect with all her heart might not be able to grow up normally. Because of this, when the mother beast saw Yiqing Luo, it endured its unwillingness to let Shiju and Yiqing Luo form a contract. Lord Holy Beast had said something. Because a human that the Lord Saint Beast had acknowledged would definitely be able to train its son. Because the beast race was the most sensitive to the changes in human emotions and hearts. It could tell that although Yiqing Luo looked cold and emotionless on the surface, but her heart was actually very kind. Finally, it hoped that I could bring Shiju to Shiju's father. Yiqing Luo's eyelashes drooped, but regarding Shiju's father's matter, it's not willing to say a single word more. Zhou Xian held her waist tightly as he laughed softly. Shiju only has half-leopard beast bloodline, which means that Shiju's father is not a leopard beast. The fact that this mother beast gave birth to Shiju in the magical beast forest alone means that something happened between it and Shiju's father. As soon as he finished speaking, he wrapped his arms even tighter around her. That elegant sandalwood scent lingered in Yiqing Luo's heart bit by bit. It doesn't want to talk about it because it doesn't want to talk about its past. Since it asked you to find Shiju's father, it must be because of Shiju's father. If he sees Shiju, he will definitely be able to recognize Shiju. Yiqing Luo nodded her head slightly. She had no choice but to admit that Zhou Xian's words of consolation had struck the spot in her heart. She raised her eyes and looked at the leopard and leopard cubs who were still rubbing against each other. Her clear eyes were filled with warmth. Actually, my Lil Luo's nature is still kind. Zhou Xian's slender fingers caressed Yiqing Luo's cheek. His slender and fair fingers had distinct joints and were extremely beautiful. Kindness. No matter if it was her previous life or this life, she would always be called heartless, bloodthirsty, demoness, and other similar comments. This was the first time someone had used this term on her. It was really unfamiliar. He was kind but not to people. The sincere feelings of these two leopards were worthy of her kindness. Many times beasts were more worthy of respect than humans. Humans could sacrifice their children for their own benefit. But beasts would not. Beasts would only place their closest kin in the most important position. Yiqing Luo stared at the two mirage beasts and did not notice that Zhou Xian had changed the way he addressed her. He had also neglected that she had admitted that she was Zhou Xian's little Luo. Yiqing Luo. Suddenly Yiqing Qian's sharp voice was heard. You fickle woman. How dare you hug another man in front of His Highness? If this matter reaches the ears of the old ancestor, you will suffer. From afar, Yiqing Luo could see the intense jealousy in Yiqing Qian's eyes. To Yiqing Qian, Yiqing Luo's disregard towards her was the greatest humiliation. That kneel was an indelible humiliation for Yiqing Qian in this lifetime. Yiqing Luo raised her brows and pushed the hand on her waist. This time round, Zhou Xian didn't take the opportunity to take advantage of Yiqing Luo as he obediently let go of his hand. Yiqing Luo's lips curled into a smile as her eyes were filled with a deep cold intent. If I didn't remember wrongly, as early as 3 months ago, Leng Fenghua had personally said that he wanted to request for a decree from the monarch to cancel our engagement. Chapter 243. 3 months ago? It just so happened that Leng Fenghua and Yiqing Qian were in their passionate love period. Leng Fenghua's face suddenly sunk as his gloomy eyes stared at Yiqing Qian. As though he was blaming Yiqing Qian for telling Yiqing Luo their private conversation. Yiqing Qian instantly felt extremely aggrieved. For Leng Fenghua, she even knelt down to Yiqing Luo, giving Yiqing Luo a chance to humiliate her. Leng Fenghua did not know how to be grateful and even spoke coldly to her. The more Yiqing Qian thought about it, the more indignant she felt. But she didn't dare to flare up at Leng Fenghua, so she could only clench her teeth and suppress her anger, thinking of ways to shut Yiqing Luo's mouth. Seventh sister, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. 3 months ago, His Highness often visited the Three Springs sect residence. When did he mention anything about breaking off the engagement with you? Since ancient times, there has been no reason for a woman to divorce her husband. You were just blinded by another man today. When she said other men, she specially took a glance at Zhou Xian. Her eyes were filled with disdain and ridicule. Only Yiqing Luo would take a fancy to such an ordinary man. I say, big sister, you can't have forgotten 3 months ago you and Leng Fenghua were under the big tree in the garden. Yiqing Luo's voice paused as her charming eyes revealed a crafty smile. That tenderness between the both of you is really like a pair of lovers. Even I who is tens of miles away can hear that voice which makes one's ears turn red. Xianxia was embarrassed and indignant, her face turned green and white as she trembled with anger. She wanted to teach Luo a lesson, but she had not expected Luo to be so stifled that she couldn't even say a single word. Luo couldn't be bothered with her as she walked straight towards the mercenary group. The ground was littered with the corpses of wild beasts, and the smell of blood was extremely heavy. Luo swept a glance at those corpses and immediately spread out her hands towards the group leader. Magic cores and magic crystals. This impolite tone made the group leader stunned for a moment as he was unable to understand the meaning behind Luo's words. Seeing his blank look, Luo patiently explained, "Give me all the magic cores and magic crystals collected from the beast horde." Hiss! The mercenaries who were resting on the ground sucked in a cold breath. She had never seen someone so domineering and arrogant, so righteous. The guild leader's face also showed a bit of embarrassment. Although it was all thanks to Luo that they were able to escape from danger in this beast tide. But after all, they had suffered heavy losses this time. They might not even be able to earn their employer's share of the money. Luo had already led her little kitten to search for most of the magic cores. Moreover, she had also picked up a mana crystal. She had made a huge profit. Logically speaking, he shouldn't pursue the matter of the remaining monster cores with them. Speaking of magic cores, I haven't asked you yet. Xianxia's hands under her sleeves clasped together tightly. This mercenary group is hired by your highness. Whatever they get from their hard work should belong to your highness. Contribute? Luo curled her lips into a smile which didn't look like a smile. Her eyes narrowed as she looked at the group leader. How much effort did you put in? The leader's face stiffened and he lowered his head. At that time when the high-level mirage beast was chasing him, it was Luo who made the most accurate calculation for him and warned him, which allowed him to survive. Xianxia gritted her teeth and stared at the group leader resentfully. Then she looked at Luo. In short, we have more people, so we should get more. Take out all your magic cores in that magic crystal. Luo snorted lightly and rolled her eyes disapprovingly. She spread out her palm towards the group leader. Magic cores and magic crystal. Chapter 244. Xiaoji. Xianxia shouted in a low voice when she saw the group leader took out the brocade bag. Her facial features were distorted and she could no longer maintain her usual gentleness. You are a mercenary hired by His Highness and me. According to the mercenary group regulations, all your spoils of war today should be handed over to the employer. As she spoke, Xianxia's figure flashed and quickly moved towards Luo's direction. She stretched out her hand and tried to snatch the brocade bag from the group leader's hand. Pa! Xianxia felt a burning pain on her wrist. An extremely clear red mark immediately appeared on her fair and slender wrist. Xianxia sucked in a breath of cold air from the pain and hurriedly withdrew her hand as she grimaced in pain. Immediately, she watched as Luo took the brocade bag from the group leader and waited a few times. Luo. Xianxia's arm was already numb and she didn't even have the strength to lift her hand. What did you do to me? Luo ignored her and directly poured out some magic cores from the brocade bag. About 10 pieces of magic cores. She casually threw them towards the direction of the group leader. These are your compensation. The group leader stretched out his hand and kept the 10 pieces of magic cores in his palm. His sword-like eyebrows were tightly knitted together. His upright and plain-spoken face revealed traces of suppressed anger. 10 pieces of magic cores? Young lady, are you trying to humiliate us? The mercenaries' faces immediately darkened. Although they were filled with reverence towards an expert like Luo. But they were a team. Even if Luo was an expert, no matter how powerful she was, they would never allow her to humiliate their team in such a way. Luo raised her eyebrows, her cold and charming eyes like the moon outlined a narrow arc. Humiliate? Are you worth my effort to humiliate you? The moment these words came out, those mercenaries' faces turned even uglier. They knew this girl was arrogant, but they didn't expect her to be arrogant to this extent. Xianxia was so angry that her whole body was trembling. The more she trembled, the more painful the numbness of her wrist became. Suddenly she felt a sweet taste in her throat and a mouthful of blood spurted out from her mouth. Yiqing Luo's words were obviously meant to ridicule her. The minute she recalled that she was forced to kneel down, Yiqing Luo actually left directly, totally disregarding her behavior. The fury in Yiqing Qian's heart burned even more vigorously. Your contribution today, deducting the cost of saving your lives, 10 pieces of magical beast cores is enough. Yiqing Luo sneered. Soon after, she placed the brocade bag into her sleeves and turned around to walk towards Zhou Xian. At this time the sky was already beginning to brighten. If they stayed any longer they would be late for the freshman training. Perhaps Yiqing Qian would catch hold of her weakness and report the matter of her sneaking out of the academy to the academy. One must know that the rules of the Heavenly Academy were extremely strict and would never allow students to leave the academy during non-holidays. The mother and son beast who were snuggling against each other. On seeing that Yiqing Luo's matter had been settled, the mother beast pushed Shiju over to Yiqing Luo's side. The Void Mother was extremely reluctant. But it understood that if it continued to stay, Shiju would probably be even more unwilling to leave it. It had finally made up its mind, but because of this reluctance, it would go back on its word. The mother beast's gaze slowly shifted onto Zhou Xian. Its eyes blinked and returned to Yiqing Luo. Immediately, it nodded its huge leopard head meaningfully. Looks like even if I am not by Ju's side, it can still enjoy the warmth of home. Wait a minute. The Void Mother's eyes were filled with deep meaning and a teasing smile. What was going on? Chapter 245. Yiqing Luo tried to explain but Zhou Xian didn't give her a chance. He used his actions to show the mother beast that it absolutely didn't misunderstand. Zhou Xian stretched out his long arm and held onto Yiqing Luo's waist. His thin lips curled up slightly, his pitch-black eyes revealed some tenderness. Don't worry, little Luo, we'll definitely do what he promised you. The strong and powerful arm imprisoned Yiqing Luo and she was unable to break free. The scorching hot chest was broad and thick. Yiqing Luo's cheeks flushed red as she slapped the hand on her waist fiercely. Yiqing Luo didn't notice that she had made such a delicate action of a little girl. The mother beast's eyes revealed an envious smile. Gradually it became a little blurry. Its thoughts seemed to have drifted to a long time ago. It had such a sweet and warm period of time. 2 people and 1 beast finished their final farewell. A white 9-tailed fox descended from the sky. 9 white fluffy tails, wrapped around a luxurious carriage. A pair of enchanting beast eyes, exuding a majestic aura that made one subconsciously submit to it. When it saw the 9-tailed fox, the mother beast suddenly leaped in front of Yiqing Luo. Its fur suddenly stood up as it stared at the 9-tailed fox with extreme vigilance. It let out a low growl. This is not an enemy. Yiqing Luo hurriedly appeased the mother beast and pointed to Zhou Xian. This is his contracted battle pet. Little 9 stood quietly in the middle of the rubble. A fluffy tail stretched over and landed beside Yiqing Luo's feet. The mother beast let out a low growl as it stared vigilantly at that tail. Little 9, it's been hard on you. Zhou Xian held on to Yiqing Luo as he walked towards that tail. Little 9's tail immediately curled up and the both of them were firmly swept into the carriage. It was until the both of them were safely sitting outside the carriage that the mother beast's fur slowly softened. It stared at Zhou Xian with a somewhat strange gaze. Shiju, let's go. Yiqing Luo waved to that little leopard. Shiju turned its little head and stared deeply at the mother beast. Its little tongue licked its mouth a few times as it let out a low growl. Following that petite body scurried into Yiqing Luo's arms at lightning speed. His tiny head was buried between Yiqing Luo's wrist, unwilling to personally experience this parting. Yiqing Luo rubbed its little head. Don't worry, you'll be able to see your mother again very soon, trust me. Little 9 extended his 4 limbs, soaring into the air. The carriage floated in midair. In the blink of an eye, it seemed to have melted into the air and disappeared without a trace. The Void Mother followed the scent for a long distance, and finally stopped at the edge of the 4th level of the magical beast forest. 9-tailed fox. It can't be, right? That unattractive man who stood there like a fool from beginning to end is. The mercenaries raised their heads and looked in the direction where 9-tailed fox had disappeared, unable to regain their senses for a long time. Xiaoxi withdrew his gaze, a complicated look in his eyes. He clenched his fist and the 10 demon cores in his palm burned painfully. Nine-tailed fox. There was only one person in the world who possessed such a pure and holy nine-tailed fox. That was the legendary figure of the Nirvana realm, Dizun. A woman who could be by the side of Dizun was naturally extraordinary. That lady had the capital to be arrogant. Your Highness, is that really Dizun? When Yi Qingqian saw that nine-tailed fox, her face turned ashen as she fell to the ground. Her originally meticulously dressed hair was disheveled, like a crazy woman. Her exquisite, elegant and beautiful dress was also torn apart piece by piece. The current Yi Qingqian was extremely embarrassed. Nine-tailed fox. Dizun. That man turned out to be Dizun. Idiot. Lung Fenghua's eyes were filled with unconcealable disgust. Chapter 246. Inside the carriage, Yiqing Luo was forcefully pulled into Demo Xian's arms as she sat on him. The man's chin rested on Yiqing Luo's shoulder. As he spoke, he turned his head to look at Yiqing Luo's side profile. His warm breath made Yiqing Luo's petite body tremble slightly. Demo Xian. Yiqing Luo tried her best to ignore the hot breath on her cheeks as she pursed her lips and spoke solemnly. There was a hint of seriousness in his tone. Demo Xian's arms tightened. Did you ask Little Nine to create the beast tide? Yiqing Luo asked uncertainly. The mother beast's attitude towards Little Nine was obviously different from Chi-Chi. As a sacred beast, the mother beast had 100% respect for Chi-Chi. However, it was so hostile towards Little Nine. Although Little Nine was different from Chi-Chi, a holy beast among the holy beasts. But after all, its status was above the mirage beasts. The only reason why the mother beast was so vigilant was Little Nine made use of his sacred beast power to create this wave of beast tide. Because of this, the mother beast treated Little Nine as an enemy. Yes. Demo Xian was calm. Sure enough. Yiqing Luo's long curly lashes fluttered unnaturally. Why are you so concerned about me? She looked sideways and coincidentally met his eyes. Yiqing Luo leaned into his arms. Their bodies were closely pressed against each other. Is my uniqueness so mesmerizing? He asked Little Nine to create the beast tide just to let her grab the opportunity to break through to the mystic profound stage. He spent so much effort and wasted so much time just to stay by her side. Even if she had something on her that was worth Demo Xian's interest, he could just let Wind keep an eye on her in the dark. There was no need to circle around her and use his charm to lure her to take the bait. You don't know how charming you are. The man's low and hoarse voice reverberated in her heart. It was like a feather constantly scratching at the bottom of his heart. Demo Xian's hands suddenly exerted force as he carried Yiqing Luo up and turned around. Yiqing Luo was completely straddling the man's lap at this moment. Face to face, 4 pairs of eyes looked at each other, their breaths on each other's face. Lil Luo, don't feel too touched in future. There will be many more touching things. Demo Xian's lips curled upwards as his finger caressed Yiqing Luo's eyes. When he first saw her, it was this pair of eyes that attracted his attention. The corners of her long and enchanting eyes shone with a piercingly cold light, but it didn't lose her purity. She was as cold as the moon and as dazzling as the moon. As the seductive light flowed, it also exuded a ruthlessness that did not match her face and age at all. This kind of ruthlessness came from the bones, a ruthlessness that was unyielding and unyielding. Her personality was just too much to his liking. The higher a profound practitioner cultivated, the longer their lifespan would be. Demo Xian had once felt that in the long lonely years ahead, all he could do was to muddle along day by day, until he was sick of this kind of life. However, Yiqing Luo had inadvertently entered his eyes. It ignited his heart that had been cold and lonely for a long time. Perhaps to find this scourge, to bring disaster to the heavens together with him, then the days ahead would be even more exciting. Demo Xian gazed at Yiqing Luo's face as the smile on his lips became increasingly gentle, revealing an evil charm. Yiqing Luo pursed her pink lips but didn't reject Demo Xian's hug. The man's gentle gaze, simple but warm words, every word and sentence, stirred up circles of ripples in Yiqing Luo's heart. Unknowingly, in this warm atmosphere, Little Nine stopped at a corner not far away from the Heavenly Academy. Little Nine had calculated the time very accurately. In another 1 hour it would be the freshman training time. Chapter 247. Zhou Xian's elegant brows were slightly hooked. His devilishly handsome face revealed a trace of charm because of the spirited look in his eyes. For a man to be able to display his flirtatiousness and laziness to the fullest without losing his fortitude, as well as his innate power to look down on the entire world, was something that was hard to describe. In this world there was probably only Zhou Xian alone. Forgot again, how to call me? Zhou Xian lowered his head, his long arms once again took Yiqing Luo into his arms. Yiqing Luo's cheeks turned hot. Recalling the Zhou Xian he asked her to call, her face became even hotter. Forgot, then let me make you remember. Just as the voice fell, Yiqing Luo's body felt light. Her waist was tightly embraced by the man's arms. He had bent over her and his lips were on hers. Gentle and deep, extremely lingering. As if all the emotions were melted into this kiss. Yiqing Luo's nose was filled with the man's rich sandalwood scent. Her mind with a bang went blank. The blush on her face seemed to spread throughout her body and mind. Her whole body was ignited with a slight heat. Their black hair flew, intertwined together, 10 fingers clasped tightly, as if to indicate that they would be entangled together forever. Zhou Xian's arms around her waist wrapped even tighter. His lips slowly moved to Yiqing Luo's ear, his breathing was heavy and scorching. Call me. The low hoarse voice, with some kind of repressed emotion, made Yiqing Luo's eyes even more blurred. Her delicate body was almost hanging in Zhou Xian's arms, leaning on his chest, listening to her heartbeat and hearing his unique charming whisper. Yiqing Luo thought, there was probably no one in this world who could escape such temptation. Slender fingers subconsciously clenched the man's lapel. In her heart a decision was formed. She was not the kind of person who liked to be tangled and let her imagination run wild. In her world it was either black or white, there was no middle color. Like was like, hate was hate, she didn't like to guess. And because of this, after this decision was formed, Yiqing Luo had already raised her head. Her charming eyes were suffused with flowing light, revealing some seriousness. Zhou Xian, do you like me? The man's pitch-black eyes reflected her face. Yiqing Luo could feel the sweat seeping out from her palms. She could feel her petite body tensing up, trembling slightly. Nervous. Filled with anxiety, she waited for Zhou Xian's answer. Between her and Zhou Xian, no one had ever opened their mouth to break this kind of ambiguity. Yiqing Luo didn't want to go on like this with him. Liking was liking. If he didn't like it, they should change the way they interacted. Otherwise, her heart would really be stirred by Zhou Xian. If he didn't love her, then he should cut off all possibilities as soon as possible. Maintaining a friendship was good for both of them. Zhou Xian loosened his grip on her waist. That pair of obsidian-like devastating and dazzling black pupils stared at Yiqing Luo with a slightly deep expression. He didn't say a word and Yiqing Luo didn't rush him. After some time, it was until the academy's bell rang that Yiqing Luo restrained the nervousness in her heart as she clenched her fists. Think carefully about what kind of relationship we should use to continue getting along. The next time we meet, I'll be waiting for your answer. Her thin lips slightly hooked, she pulled out the wooden token representing her own information from her waist and handed it to Zhou Xian. Help me do something to cover up my profound grade. This wooden token would be updated once a day. It would change the information of the holder of the wooden token in time. If the people in the academy found out that she had advanced from Yellow Profound 9th grade to Mystic Profound 4th grade overnight, it would definitely attract the attention of the academy. Chapter 248. Zhou Xian's eyes were deep as he stared at Yiqing Luo's face for a long time before he received the wooden token. He placed both hands on the wooden token and immediately returned it to her. If you want to change the profound grade information on the wooden token, just use the power of the profound jade heart. Yiqing Luo nodded and kept the wooden token, thanked him and turned to walk towards the academy. Zhou Xian didn't stop her but stared deeply at her back until she disappeared from his sight before he retracted his gaze. The lady's clear and serious voice rang in his ears. Zhou Xian, do you like me? Right. If he didn't like her, he wouldn't have allowed Yiqing Luo to offend him again and again. He wouldn't be willing to stay by her side and pay attention to everything about her. But this kind of was it love? He understood the meaning behind Yiqing Luo's question. He knew what Yiqing Luo wanted. But he couldn't answer. After living for so long, Zhou Xian had never loved anyone. As for love, he couldn't understand it. He couldn't tell if he could give Yiqing Luo the kind of feelings she wanted. Back at the dormitory, Yiqing Luo placed Shiju and Chi-Chi into the pet space. She quickly fetched a basin of water for herself, washed up and quickly dressed up. Just in time for the freshman training. After 2 days of habit, the moment Instructor Ho gave the order, the students didn't waste their saliva to complain as they lined up and started running around the square. Sure enough, as Yiqing Luo expected, just when she was on the 4th lap, Yiqing Qian led Lu Shuiyu to the square. The moment they saw the students from the high profound class and 2 beautiful ladies at that, the freshmen looked over. It's the senior sister from the high profound class and the vice president. Isn't that the genius Missy from Three Springs sect? No wonder she's the #1 beauty in Three Springs town, she looks so good. Listening to the exclamations of the crowd, Yiqing Luo snorted disdainfully. Yiqing Qian saw Yiqing Luo, who was jogging in front from afar, her well-manicured eyebrows frowned. That slut really left the academy last night? Lu Shuiyu's brows were filled with coldness as she asked coldly. Yiqing Qian smiled eerily. His Highness told me personally. She cleverly covered up the fact that she had also left the academy last night, and used Ling Fenghua as a shield. According to the academy's rules, as long as we can prove that the little bitch really left the academy last night, she had a way to chase Yiqing Luo out of the academy. Lu Shuiyu's eyes were cold and the corners of her mouth curved into a sinister smile. When Instructor Chu saw Lu Shuiyu, his expressionless face frowned and showed some disgust. He walked over and said in a cold voice, "Why did the vice president come to the square?" The faculty council has received a secret report that one of the freshmen has violated the academy's rules. I have come here to verify the situation, Lu Shuiyu said in a businesslike manner. Instructor Chu frowned and subconsciously glanced at the completely unaffected Yiqing Luo, who was still jogging. For Lu Shuiyu to make an appearance, it was probably related to Yiqing Luo. A tall tree attracts the wind. This new student was too outstanding and had a stubborn personality. He had made too many enemies and every day trouble would come to him. Sure enough, he heard Lu Shuiyu said, "Instructor, please call student Yi over." Instructor Chu was about to speak when a cold voice came from behind. "The students are training. If there's anything, the vice president will come after the training is over." It was Instructor Ho. Chapter 249. Lu Shuiyu's expression stiffened as if she had not expected Instructor Ho to not give her any face. Yiqing Qian furrowed her brows, pretending to be gentle, but a trace of jealousy seeped out. "Instructor, if this freshman really violates the rules, he will be driven out of the academy. Whether he is trained or not, it doesn't matter anymore. As long as she is still a student of the Heavenly Academy, she is my student." Instructor Ho snorted coldly without giving her any face. He had never liked to talk, but now he was staring at Yiqing Qian preaching. As a student of the high profound class, if you have so much time to care about the freshmen, you might as well cultivate diligently. Don't embarrass the high profound class. Yiqing Qian's face suddenly darkened, her hands clenched into fists, suppressing the surging anger in her heart. Although Instructor Ho was just a freshman training instructor, but he had trained many elite students and had quite a prestige in the academy. Moreover, the Heavenly Academy emphasized on respecting the teachers, and now that she was reprimanded, Yiqing Qian could not refute a word. Instructor is right. Lu Shuiyu waited for Instructor Ho to finish and continued. "I called Yiqing Qian to accompany me because the freshman who was tipped off is Yiqing Luo." She raised her voice slightly. The freshmen who were running on the square heard her words. One by one, they looked at Yiqing Luo, who was jogging at a constant speed, and whispered to each other. Why was it that every day this freshman could create some trouble, causing them, a group of freshmen, to be criticized and pointed at by other students all day long? Instructor must be very clear about student Ye's character. Student Yiqing Qian is student Ye's elder sister. I specially called her over to have a good talk with her. Lu Shuiyu's words not only helped Yi Qingqian out of trouble, but also belittled Yi Qingluo as a problem student who refused to be disciplined. Instructor Ho frowned slightly and was about to speak, but Lu Shuiyu had already passed him and walked directly towards the square. She stood beside the inner line of the square. Yi Qingluo jogged and came face to face. "Student Yi, please follow me to the faculty council." Lu Shuiyu stretched out her arm and blocked Yi Qingluo's way. Yi Qingluo's footsteps were steady and her breathing was steady. She raised her eyes and glanced at Lu Shuiyu indifferently, as the corners of her lips tugged upwards in disdain. She bypassed Lu Shuiyu's hand and continued to jog. Lu Shuiyu's raised arm froze in midair, her face ashen. Yi Qingluo actually dared to throw her face in front of so many students. If Yi Qingluo wasn't taught a lesson, these freshmen would really think that faculty council was easy to bully. "Student Yi, I order you in the name of the Vice President of the Faculty Council to cooperate with all the investigations of the Faculty Council. If you don't abide by the Academy's rules, don't blame me for reporting this to the principal." Lu Shuiyu narrowed her eyes. Her expression was dignified. The students were in an uproar. One by one they retracted their necks, afraid that they would be involved in this matter. If he were to report this to the principal, he would definitely be expelled from the academy. If he was forced to leave by the Heavenly Academy, the other academies would not accept him nor dare to accept him. This also meant that after being chased out of the Heavenly Academy, his entire life would be ruined. "What right do you have to investigate just because you say so?" Lu Xiaoyu panted heavily as she ran to Lu Shuiyu's side and stopped in her tracks. Her little face was filled with anger. Due to the long period of jogging, her face was flushed red from holding back. Just entered the academy and the faculty council forcefully escorted Qingluo to the faculty council, saying, "What investigation? It's only been a few days and you're already finding excuses to say what investigation? Do you really think that you're the god of the academy and everyone revolves around you?" Lu Xiaoyu spat out fiercely, her face was filled with disdain. "If you have the ability, get me into the devil class too. You're just a lackey of the faculty council and you really think that you're a human." Chapter 250. No matter how cool Lu Shuiyu was, being scolded by a freshman at this time, the anger in her heart was burning. "Lu Xiaoyu, you publicly insulted your senior and insulted the staff of the faculty council. Believe it or not, I can expel you from the academy just based on these 2 points. Yo. Lu Xiaoyu put her hands on her hips, puffed out her chest and looked like a rascal. "It turns out that the faculty council is such a place to bully people. Well, I want to see what means you people from the faculty council are going to use to bully a freshman like me." Lu Shuiyu's face was as black as charcoal, her malicious and resentful eyes stared at Lu Xiaoyu. If it wasn't in public, Lu Shuiyu would definitely slap her in the face. When the freshmen and seniors around saw this scene, they were all mourning for Lu Xiaoyu. It was the first time they saw someone daring to openly provoke the faculty council. Did these 2 freshmen not want to live anymore? Did they not want to stay in the academy anymore? Many students were in an uproar and there was a lot of discussion. The more they discussed, the darker Lu Shuiyu's face became. That pair of malicious eyes shot out a ruthless intent. As the vice president of the faculty council, this identity could help Lu Shuiyu get a lot of things in the academy. But at the same time she would also lose a lot of things. For example, no matter how angry she was, she must suppress all the anger. On the surface, she must not let any students catch her in the slightest. Lu Shuiyu took a deep breath and suppressed her anger. She gritted her teeth and spat out each word. "The purpose of the faculty council's existence is to maintain the peace of the academy, to maintain the order of the academy. We don't want to be gods in the eyes of the students. The only thing we want is that when any student is in trouble, the faculty council can provide them with help." Student Yi was secretly reported, so the faculty council naturally needs to ask Student Yi to verify it. After explaining till here, Lu Shuiyu's head that was clouded by anger was much clearer. Her eyes were gloomy and she snorted coldly. "But you as a freshman have been secretly reported again and again. That is your own problem, how can you blame it on the faculty council? Your words are even better than your singing." Lu Xiaoyu spat again. Just as he was about to open his mouth to ridicule Lu Shuiyu, he suddenly heard a clear voice. so your faculty council is a place where you can hear the wind and hear the rain. At the end of the public square, Yiqing Luo was holding a white handkerchief, wiping the tears on her forehead as she walked over slowly. She had finished the 5 laps that the instructor had set for all the students, and she had run 1 more lap. Originally, Yiqing Luo was prepared to try running 10 laps today. But now she saw Lu Xiaoyu arguing with Lu Shuiyu because of her. With Lu Xiaoyu's personality, the two of them would probably fight. The other party had his own influence and status in the academy. If they were to fight head-on, Lu Xiaoyu would definitely not be able to gain any advantage. Might as well, Yiqing Luo planned to settle the faculty council's trivial matters first before completing all the training in one go. I request to report this to the faculty council. The president and vice president of the faculty council have a strange habit. They always like to go to the dormitories one by one to peek at the female students bathing after the freshmen's training. Yiqing Luo raised her brows. Her voice was clear and melodious. Almost everyone in the square could hear her teasing words. Pfft, peeping at female students. The students laughed out loud on the spot. One by one they began to imagine the scene of the mysterious president, pulling along the elegant and noble vice president, peeping at the female students bathing together. After they finished imagining, their expressions were strange. Even the gaze that looked at Lu Shuiyu revealed some strange and ridiculing. You're tuning in to the Zhou Xian's Legacy YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.